Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome back to another awesome video, and it's time for another awesome news. And judging by the thumbnail, you're probably knowing what's gonna happen, and you're probably seeing from what's been going on lately in Marvel media is the big obvious news that's been dropped by Disney and by Marvel, and everyone is obviously talking about it. So I want to throw in my own 2 cents. I want to throw in my hat into the ring of what I want to kind of point out. And that is that Marvel kind of is basically teasing us this idea that, hey, you know, spoilers alert, just in case for any TV shows, whether it's whatsoever, but hey, here's Marvel going, hey, you know that basically that big Luke Skywalker cameo that we did for season 2 of The Mandalorian? We're gonna do the same thing, but for Wandavision. And I apologize for the echo. I kind of wanted to take this to the living room for just this specific reason, just because why not? But ignore the echo. So there's that. But anyways, I want to throw in my 2 cents. I want to throw my hat into the ring and put in what I think, even though everyone's talking about it, everyone's gone on about it already. I want to put in my sense. And I may or may not predict it, but here are basically the characters I think should show up. And I want to also point out that I also called it, even if I do get it wrong or if I do get it right, I called it on Comic Book Cast 2. On his YouTube channel, I called it in his comment section. So I want to point out those 5 here in this video. So, since you can't really, I don't know if you can really tell by the visual or not, but anyways, I figured I'd break it down the characters that may show up at the end, because they're doing a whole, like, the final episode of Wandavision is going to have a big Luke Skywalker cameo. So, let's get into it. And so I think from like least likely to most likely will happen is, so least likely will be, is probably gonna be, it's a toss up between either Doctor Strange or Mysterio. I know those don't make any sense, but hear me out. Doctor Strange is obviously gonna be a big key thing going into phase 4. We obviously have WandaVision, we have the Spider-Verse possibly happening, maybe rumored in Spider-Man 3. We have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and we have also other speculations and other possible characters that may tie into Doctor Strange, which we'll get into later. But it would make sense, especially from earlier trailers and earlier shots and earlier pictures we saw of WandaVision, and how many elements we see of very similar colors to, that are very reminiscent to, the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Doctor Strange. So I think it would make sense Doctor Strange would show up, maybe makes, I don't know what's going to be the big finale at the end of the season of WandaVision, but something cool where maybe Steven's got to go, hey Wanda, I need to get you the hell out of here, and we got to basically save the multiverse because your reality is basically breaking the multiverse, or something big like that. Reason why I think it could be Mysterio is because since WandaVision is basically this is before Spider-Man 3, and then this is supposed to start the multiverse breaking and dimensions dividing and shattered grid and shattered dimensions and everything. I think it'd be kind of interesting all of a sudden, instead of a hero showing up at the end, we have a villain show up, and that would be Mysterio. That would be the only one that makes sense, especially with the illusions and the whole bubble. And even if he has a card up his sleeve that maybe he might be pulling some aspects of it, not necessarily Mysterio himself, but there are some characters that maybe could be pulling the strings besides Wanda in control of this bubble that she's in. And maybe, even if it's not Mysterio, maybe someone's pulling his strings, making Mysterio a certain character's puppet, which we'll get into way later on. So don't worry, we'll get to him in a moment. But I think Mysterio could be interesting, and it would kind of confirm that, hey, Jake Gyllenhaal's still Mysterio, Quentin Beck's still alive. It would confirm some things, and it would confirm speculations, and many speculations that I have and many fans have. But yeah, Doctor Strange or Mysterio. The next one, I think, could be a big probability, although, now, I would like to say Quicksilver, and I did say that Quicksilver would probably be the most clear choice by the visual I showed earlier. But spoilers for the latest episode that dropped, episode 5, I think this is. We already see Quicksilver, and my goodness, I jumped for joy. I had the biggest smile on my face to see Evan Peters, and I have more thoughts on that later, but that's pretty much my assumption for episode 5 of WandaVision and Quicksilver showing up and everything, but we'll go into more details when I talk about the season later on. But as much as I think that'd be the most biggest choice, again, we already saw Quicksilver, so the only thing I can really say is that maybe he makes another cameo, and the only thing that could be different is for maybe the season finale, he pulls basically a Days of Future Past where he recreates a similar scene like he did in Days of Future Past with the time in the bottle and the whole slow motion sort of moment we had and saw that. That's the only thing I can really think of. And I was going to put that higher, but now that I actually have seen said episode, I was like, yeah, we already saw Quicksilver, so he's out of the picture, but maybe he'll do something different. But it would be interesting to have maybe he shows up for one episode and maybe he'll show up for the finale and do something cool, or maybe he stays for the entire rest of the season and then he does something like out of nowhere, unexpected, that we would have expected, especially something like, if we're going to compare it to Luke Skywalker, you gotta really do something big and bold. So maybe Quicksilver could pull something big and bold. Who knows? Keeping going with the X-Men theme, and as much as I think this character would be a high candidate for WandaVision, I feel they're gonna save him for later, and that's Wolverine. I'd love to see Wolverine show up. I don't care what the climax, what the season finale is gonna be, how it's gonna happen. I think it'd be a surprise for Wolverine to show up, and especially with how big of a reputation, how big of a obvious stature he has, and I feel like he has that same length, or that same, not length, but that same quality and that same popularity almost as Luke Skywalker. And come on, it's Wolverine. And to be specific, not anybody else, not recasting, not Tom Hardy, not John Bernthal, not anybody else they have in mind, Scott Eastwood, whoever else could play the character excellent and probably would do a good job at recasting, but let's give Hugh Jackman maybe an opportunity. I think that would really bring people by surprise, because if we see Wolverine, if we see maybe they build up the scene with Wolverine, we see claws maybe as the first shot of Wolverine, people are gonna go, oh, people are gonna think, who could it be? Are we gonna actually see someone recast it? Is it gonna be John Bernthal? Is it gonna be Tom Hardy? Is it gonna be Scott Eastwood? Is it gonna be Scott Adkins? Is it gonna be whoever other actors have been rumored or possibly in fan casting of Wolverine from anyone out the wazoo? Even Zac Efron was possibly rumored to be a fan cast for Wolverine and other characters. But point I'm making is there's also the other faces that maybe people go, oh, who can this be? Who can this be? And I think the perfect shot and great reaction for people is if we see Hugh Jackman. And I think that would really bring that star power that Hugh Jackman has, and that power, that popularity that Wolverine has, is almost as rivaled as Luke Skywalker in the Marvel Universe, if not Spider-Man. And we already have Spider-Man. I mean, it would be kind of interesting, all of a sudden Spider-Man shows up out of nowhere, but I think the clear, obvious thing, since this is WandaVision, this is X-Men territory, I think it would be cool if we saw Wolverine, specifically Hugh Jackman. He would bring that power, that quality, that people would just be reacting. You'd see reactions and reactions after reactions after reactions. It's going to be almost as big as Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker coming back. And then seeing Hugh Jackman do the same thing would be a perfect opportunity. And if Marvel doesn't do this, if Disney doesn't do this, this is a missed opportunity for sure. And if not, hopefully we'll see him in season 2, or maybe we'll see him somewhere else down the line. We'll see. But there's many opportunities for Wolverine, there's many opportunities for Logan. I know it's going to be hard to get Hugh, but it'd be pretty damn epic. Keeping it going with the X-Men train, as much as I would probably want to say someone like Patrick Stewart as Professor Rex, or maybe James McAvoy, I want to turn over to a different leaf. Although it actually would be kind of interesting for Patrick Stewart to all show up and just go, Wanda, and just all of a sudden show up and you hear that Patrick Stewart voice, would be awesome. I gotta give it to the other guy, the other coin, the other side of the coin, and that is Magneto. I think Magneto would be a lot more fitting, because obviously he could have a possible tie-in to Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch. And even if you get Ian McKellen or even Michael Fassbender, I think one of those choices to be Magneto again would be pretty damn awesome to see. It would definitely get people like jumping for joy and giddy with such excitement and such surprise and such shock. And it'd be kind of interesting to see what would Magneto be doing showing up in this universe. And maybe it could tie some things. And especially with Quicksilver now introduced, and especially Evan Peters' Pietro Maximoff, there could be a confirmation that maybe now Eric Maximoff is actually their father. Or somehow they recast the whole, or retcon some of the things of Age of Ultron, since that's what it seems like this episode here did a little bit, which was because they didn't have Aaron Taylor Johnson, they recast Evan Peters, so maybe they might retcon some things with Age of Ultron. So maybe now we might possibly see that maybe there's a possibility that Eric Maximoff, aka Magneto, might have abandoned both Pietro and Wanda at a very young age and left them with Sokovian parents. And I think that would really tie it all together, and maybe this could mean bigger things for the Fox universe, or more specifically, maybe bigger things for the X-Men. So that would be really cool. And I think this one being the most obvious one, or the most clear choice, which I think would be pretty cool, is Mephisto. Seeing Mephisto show up, it's kind of not clear, but in a way it feels almost like as if Mephisto is pulling some strings. So like someone like the nosy neighbor like Agnes, I think she seems like a puppet or a slave or a pawn in Mephisto's plan. And speaking of which, Mysterio could be a pawn or a puppet. Even if he does show up in WandaVision, he could be a puppet of Mephisto's. And he's just using people and pulling strings just for the time being, just for temporary, because it seems like Mephisto could tie back to Doctor Strange, since Doctor Strange has had come toe-to-toe a few times with the devil himself. And obviously him as a being. And not only Doctor Strange could be a character that Mephisto could fight against, but this character, this villain, could be an Avengers level threat. So maybe for Avengers 5 or Avengers 6, you could have Mephisto as your big bad villain. It would make sense. It'd be a different direction. Sure, we like the cosmic beings, and we might get Kang as our next villain in terms of the whole time traveling element and multiverse and all. But I think if they're going into a more riskier, more bizarre direction with magic and with Scarlet Witch and with Doctor Strange with the multiverse and with Spider-Man, it could make sense that Mephisto does show up, because Mephisto has been associated with Scarlet Witch. He did have plans and did have like a bit of a I guess he was a bit of a part of the House of M comic. And even having someone like Agnes, the nosy neighbor, she might be a comic book character in the comics that's made deals with Mephisto. And even Scarlet Witch has made deals with Mephisto. He had this one villain all of a sudden take control of both Scarlet Witch and Vision's kids, and they were like puppets, and they're like these demonic babies that he turned them into. And that was all a part of Mephisto's plan. Mephisto had a dude he used a pawn, and they were his like demon babies he used. Like I said, he already has been associated or in cahoots or had a thing against Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man has had one or two things associated with Mephisto. As much as that's odd to see him and hear, it would make sense, and it would come full circle with this show, with Spider-Man 3, whether it's going to be the multiverse or not, and Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. But those are my quick thoughts on who I think should be who's going to be the big Luke Skywalker cameo. I wanted to put it out there. Even if I don't get it right, I want to at least put my thoughts and my opinion out there. And just to be specific, I think Mephisto, at first, if Evan Peters wasn't going to show up as Quicksilver, I thought the idea of maybe kind of jumping on the bandwagon that maybe Evan Peters was going to be Mephisto. But since he's now Quicksilver, and with Thor Love and Thunder doesn't seem like Mephisto will be showing up in that movie, I think Christian Bale should have his opportunity to play Mephisto. Since he's not playing Mephisto in Thor Love and Thunder, you should have Christian Bale be your Mephisto. Or if you really want to keep going with the whole like bringing back other characters and bring back other actors like Evan Peters, maybe if you want to bring back Hugh Jackman, if you want to bring back Patrick Stewart, Peter Fonda could maybe return as Mephisto. Anybody? What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to show up and who's going to be this big character? I even heard a fellow viewer of mine say Doctor Doom could be the next character, maybe as their big cameo or their big surprise, you know? So who knows? Maybe, maybe not. That is definitely some good speculation, but I think for sure we have a clear winner, which might be Mephisto. But who do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please smash the like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do awesome videos every day, if not every week. And make sure you ring that bell to be notified. I do new videos every day, if not every week. And share the video with family and friends and all that good stuff and more. And leave some suggestions in the comments below. I'm going to have a lot of things scheduled and a lot of things in between said scheduling. So there's going to be all sorts of videos coming up. And I've had kind of well, there's a long story where basically I'm not going to be working for quite a while. So I'm not going to be constantly on my channel, but might as well put up some content here and there within my free time, while I'm still juggling, like, trying to now find a new job and trying to also do, like, also the other things in terms of college and everything else in between with my personal life and all that good stuff and more. So don't worry, folks. I will still be around, and I appreciate you guys' support and everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.